Skar King's weapon, Whiplash, explored. The Monsterverse is making its way as a successful cinematic universe in full swing, with the release of the latest installment of the series right around the corner. Godzilla and King Kong are gearing up for their next fantastic adventure for the big screen, in Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire, set to release in March. The follow-up films in a franchise are set to raise the stakes and double the excitement, and GXK is no different. Not just the introduction of various new kaiju to the live-action world, but the new film is going to up the ante by introducing new weapons for the monsters to wield. One such weapon that piques our interest among them is the signature weapon of the main antagonist, Skar King, the Whiplash. Thank you for tuning in to Marvelous Videos for another one surrounding the hype around GXK. In this video, we'll dive deep into the lore behind Skar King's weapon and find out all we can about it before the release of the film. So strap on your seatbelts, let's get started. But before we get into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Inside Skar King's Whiplash, a titan's spine as a weapon. The Whiplash is a long weapon that resembles a whip, which is actually the spinal column of a serpentine titan, with the mandible attached at one end and a blue crystal blade attached at the other. The spinal column presumably came out of a warbat, because the two fangs on the jaw are identical in shape. The vertebrae might be held up by the cartilage, which is still intact, or could be with the help of a roping system utilized by Skar King. Whatever the case, they provide the flexibility for this weapon to be used as a whip. Although the origin of the blue crystal blade is not yet known, the merchandise designs do reveal that the end with the crystal attached acts as the handle of the weapon. This indicates that the mandible attached section is the striking end of the Whiplash, which makes this weapon a major damage inflictor. Apart from the inflicting impact from the sash part of the Whiplash, the mandible end of the weapon can be used to cut into the flesh of enemies. It can also be used to grip objects or enemies and bring them close to the wielder. Skar King rolls this long, flexible weapon around his torso to the side like a sash, which makes his weapon very accessible at all times. How Skar King's Whiplash redefines Titan combat dynamics. Skar King's weapon is an interesting choice, considering the fact that whips do not fall under the category of a conventional combat weapon. They're typically utilized as a tool of punishment, as a response to poor subordination, or as a torture device. The use of a whip implies the well-versed capability of the wielder. Skar King, being built like a warrior, could definitely be capable enough to use a whip as a weapon in combat. More so, the Whiplash grants Skar King an advantageous range in his attacks, given the length of the weapon. This can prevent enemies from breaking into close-quarter combat with Skar King by keeping them at a safe distance. As already mentioned, the jawbone at the end can be used to grip objects or cut through enemies' hide. Additionally, the jawbone adds weight to the striking end of the weapon, meaning the results of its impact could be disastrous. The Whiplash can also be used by gripping it on the mandible end, turning the blue crystal blade into a striking end, which makes it even more deadly. As the impact is now from a literal flying knife, it would definitely be interesting to see the Whiplash unfold into its entirety in Skar King's hands. We're due to witness how the Whiplash fares against the known attacks of different kaiju, and learn how having a long whip-like weapon can change the combat dynamics between titans. A small taste of the capabilities of the Whiplash was given to us in the penultimate shot of the second trailer, when Skar King wraps his weapon around a whole building, tears it apart from the grip, and hurls it at Kong. Kong's axe versus Skar King's Whiplash. Kong's current weapon, his axe, is a single large bone of another kaiju, with the dorsal plate of a Godzilla species attached to the middle of it. The battle axe is a formidable weapon, and very much falls under conventional combat weaponry. Kong's proficiency with the battle axe is a well-established fact, as witnessed by the audience of Godzilla vs. Kong back in 2021. It's only fitting for us to ponder over the consequences of a match between Kong's axe and Skar King's Whiplash. The first and foremost thing that jumps out when considering this scenario is the immediate advantage of the Whiplash in terms of reach. Kong wouldn't even be able to close the gap between him and Skar King to an attackable distance without getting seriously injured by the Whiplash first. The Skar King has longer arms than Kong, which makes the scenario even worse. Kong's only resort would be to throw his weapon as a projectile at Skar King and risk getting disarmed, or he could block Skar King's attack with his battle axe and let it wrap around it, and then use it to pull Skar King closer to him, as long as he doesn't submit to Skar King's strength and end up getting pulled instead. We do know that Kong loses his battle axe in a scene in the upcoming film, where he battles Skar King and Shimo. Will it be because Skar King confiscates it from Kong as a display of his dexterity with his weapon? We'll have to wait and see. Marvelous verdict. The introduction of Kong's axe in Godzilla vs. Kong was a welcome surprise and a necessary one, as Kong definitely needed help against the atomic breath of a radioactive lizard monster. This next film is leaning heavily on the weapon work, by not just introducing one new weapon, but two, which is again a welcome surprise. The necessity of these new weapons in kaiju battle is yet to unfold to its full extent, and the excitement is getting difficult to hold inside. We're here for any more upcoming action from the Monsterverse series, and you should stay tuned to Marvelous videos if you don't want to miss out on it. Thank you for watching and be safe. And if you like our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.